And we are live, guys. Welcome, girls of high value, to another live stream from Oslo, Norway. My name is Joseph Darling. What we're going to talk about today is getting out those bad emotions. When we go through life, unfortunately or fortunately, we end up having both good things and bad things happening to us. Those bad things allow us to learn. They allow us to grow. Not only that, they also allow us to see the other side of the coin once those problems in our lives are solved. If we don't have misery, there will be no way for us to understand happiness. And our goal is to make all of humankind happy. We came to this planet in order for us to have joy, in order for us to experience harmony and happiness together with the human family. And when we look out into the world today, that's not what we're seeing. So what I want to do individually is to help each and every single one of you to understand what to do with those emotions when you have them, and the consequences if you do not apply the principles that I share with you here. So let's get right into it. I love the principle of venting. Now let's look at the definition of what venting is. I look at a dictionary. Let's see here. Venting. It says, when you vent, you let something out, whether it's hot air or your feelings. If you vent your feelings, you let out a strong and sometimes angry emotion and just say what you think. The definition of venting comes from a hole for the escape of air, or allowing, activity that frees or expresses creative energy or emotion. Outlet, release, air out, ventilate, freshen, refresh. You might vent your rage when your brother once again gets out of doing his chores. You also might vent something to air it out. If it's too hot inside your car, vent it by opening a window. The noun vent refers to a hole that lets air escape. A clothes dryer has a vent that sends hot air outside. A vent in nature is the crack in the Earth's surface that lets lava escape, like a volcano. So, when we apply this to human emotion, and understand that the human emotion is very, very powerful, and that emotion can be very often all over the place, and we have a hard time controlling it. That's okay. Sometimes we actually are able to control the emotion, and I would not recommend that for women. Let me explain. Definition that I have for masculinity is full control over one's emotions. The definition of femininity is letting go or having no control over one's emotions, allowing. Now, which one would you rather have? Would you want to control your emotions and have them bottle up and keep increasing and building and building and building and building and building and building until there's an exponential growth that hits everyone around you very hard? Or would you rather have some form of venting situation where you let it out in times that are wise, so that it doesn't disrupt everyone around you, and also it doesn't build up in you consistently and consecutively over a long period of time until you can't handle it any longer? What I would suggest is for you to focus towards the feminine aspects of things, which is to allow yourself to get it out. Allow yourself to vent those emotions, but it needs to be done correctly. And this is what's difficult, because what's happening in the world today is that women are not allowed to get their emotions out. What do I mean by that? Well, think about it. If you consistently, always vented every single negative thought or anything negative that happened in your life, or every time you saw someone do something to you, every time you were rejected, you vented immediately and you would reject them back and you would say evil and or mean things back, or basically what would happen then is that you are now blaming the other person. And this is a completely normal response, completely acceptable. Unfortunately, though, no one is perfect, which means that they automatically, when you blame them, will blame you back. And when you're blamed back, very often you don't see your own imperfections. I mean, who does? Unless someone tells us. And then you will now blame them back again, and then they're going to blame you back, and we're escalating emotion instead of diffusing it somewhere constructive. Does that make sense? So you don't want to have the exponential growth curve, because controlling yourself is going to create huge emotions. And if it's not from eventually venting it out on someone, which you probably will do anyway, no matter what, but you might bottle it up inside and instead get the release from alcohol, from popping pills, happy pills, depression pills, from hormone control, like cigarettes, whatever you name it. You can think of things in your life that you use in order to bottle up or control those emotions. But you know what happens when you do that? It actually gets worse. And it's not like your body is going to contain those emotions, maybe, instead of, because you're getting release somehow from the bad food that you're eating, or the things that you put inside your body that kind of gives you those happy momentarily feelings. But you're taking care of symptoms. You're not taking care of the root cause. But how can you take care of the root cause? It's people that are doing this to me. Exactly. So we got to figure out the relationship issues and why they're problematic, instead of using other forms to kind of over cover the symptoms, if we can say it like that. What happens if you do that? If you cover up the symptoms and use pills to be happy, or drink alcohol in the weekends to be happy, or use porn for that matter to get good feelings? What's going to end up happening is that you're going to feel worse and worse and worse about yourself, and therefore you're going to have like more negative emotions about you, because you don't feel you're worthy of a higher standard in life, which is going to make you more miserable and will create more and more negative emotions. Eventually, this is what creates health issues in women. Cancer, heart disease, or any other issue that happens to you in terms of health is really an emotional issue that has been built up over time, consistently and consecutively, from you bottling up bad emotions inside. As an example, in the beginning of our marriage, I've been married now for almost 10 years in October. Fantastic relationship today. Oh, so grateful for it. But in the beginning of our marriage, she bottled up everything inside. And she did not let me know of what was actually going on inside her heart and inside her body. Because she believed, according to our religion, that at that time, that she needed to control herself. She needed to be masculine and be responsible and to encourage me and to make sure that I was always feeling good about myself as a husband, so that I could go out there and create and do the things that needed to get done. But what ended up happening is that her luggage, her baggage, her issues started festering and made things worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. When a woman's emotions become heavier and darker, it starts attracting bad things into our lives. Accidents, or health issues, disease, All those things happen because women bottle up their emotions. It's not a very wise strategy. We've got to get to the root cause of the problem, which is relationships, understanding one another, seeking to understand and then to be understood. That's the key. And it's not women's fault. What women want to do instead is in a controlled fashion, okay, so there's discipline in one aspect, masculinity in one aspect, and that is who you vent to. Because you can't vent to every single person because that's going to create havoc in your life. But if you have one person that you can talk to on a daily basis, whom you trust, and who will always be there for you no matter what, who accepts you, who loves you unconditionally, and will never reject you for something that you say, think, or do, now we're getting somewhere. Now we can actually build healthy, great relationships. Some women use their doctor in order to do this. Sometimes that works. Unfortunately, though, you don't have a doctor's appointment all the freaking time. Some women use their parents for this. And that would probably be wouldn't it be wonderful if you had parents that actually listened to you and accepted you for who you are and who wanted to help you and wanted to understand you and give you guidance? Some parents are not there. Some parents don't have the capability of handling your problems, which means that you can't trust them with that. And that's so sad. Like, I want to be there for my kids and for my daughter, especially when she has issues, so that she can come to me or her mother and talk to about her problems. But we need to diffuse this. So this is where the husband comes along. Once a woman is old enough to get married and to actually create a family, the beautiful thing that happened in our marriage is me sitting down with my wife and telling her, I want to hear everything. I want you to vent it out on me. I want you to basically throw up on me, puke on me, all the horrible things that have happened in your life, that you're going through. I want to hear it all. No secrets, only the truth. Don't filter it. Once I did that, she started crying because no one had ever wanted to understand her and do so unconditionally. This is what improved our relationship drastically. And it allowed her to vent her bad emotions onto me. Now, you would think that when two people talk to each other about negative things, that the other person would also become negative. Well, in some ways, yeah. If they're the only two people spending time together, let's say, for example, if I only spend time with my wife and she continuously, because she has a lot of, burdens, she has 3 kids, there's a lot of things going on, rejection from other people, etc. If I consistently was the only person in her life and I listened to her all the time, all day, every day, then I will eventually become negative if I don't pump myself up with positive things the rest of the day. Does that make sense? Because, we were affected by the people we spent time with. However, if I manage to keep my input of positive people and positive things in my life to 90%, I can handle the 10% that she gives to me. Because I can know what to prioritize and what to not prioritize when it comes to what she's telling me. What's important to me is important. No, wait. What I need to say as the husband is what's important to you is important to me. So she knows that everything she says to me is important and will be validated for what it said or for what she brings out. It's important. That's why she's telling me. However, I need to prioritize what is actually important, what is not important, because sometimes women do have emotions about things that are not that important. However, if she's been rejected, it's gonna be enough important for her that she needs to get rid of it, or else it's gonna bottle up and it's gonna be part of the exponential growth curve of exponential decline in her health and in her happiness. So I take it, I receive it, and then I have the ability to choose to not care. So if she's upset with me, if she yells at me, if she gets angry at me, yes. Why? Because it's truth, it's feedback, it's telling me what is actually happening. And there's no better way for communicating with someone than telling the truth. As long as you love each other and you're able to communicate wisely. Personally, I'm consistently working on my masculinity, and that's why I can be as emotionally stable as I possibly can be, right? I'm still working on it, but most of the time, 99% of the time, I manage to be emotionally stable and listen to her and then take away in my mind what's not so important and then prioritize those things that actually are critical that we need to take action on right now in order to solve for her. So I can give her a 3-step formula of what I'm going to do in order to solve her problem. If she knows that her burdens are not to be kept by herself, that she actually can share the burden with me and with other trustworthy, hopefully females, then together we can solve the problem and make everyone happy. And that's the key. Bottling up emotions is going to create a lot of issues. Another quote. When you get angry or stressed, your body responds by releasing chemicals that heighten your ability to fight or run away from a situation. If you remain in a constant state of stress, your body will start to break down both internally and externally. Your immune system will be less likely to fight off colds or infections. Other symptoms of stress include teeth grinding, hair loss, and weight gain. It can also lead to increased fatigue and the issues associated with lack of quality sleep. Another aspect in terms of bad things happening to women is it takes them out of the present, which is the only place a woman wants to be. She wants to be in the present and be happy and excited and laugh and bubbly and dance and do all the wonderful things that she wants to do. However, if she is being rejected and having bad emotions about it, she's going to be in the past. You don't want a woman to be in the past because the past, we can't change it. Hopefully the only past that we have are good memories. Unfortunately, most of the past things that we think about are bad. Unless we're in a happy state and we can look back and say, oh, well, that was horrible, but I'm glad everything's wonderful now. And also, it might take us into the future with fears and worries. You also don't want to be there. You want to know that you can be in the present because the future is taken care of. This is where I mentioned to you that having men being masculine instead of feminine is critical in this manner, because if they're feminine, they're going to care about things just as much as you do. And if they care, then they can't prioritize what's important and what's not important, and they also can't solve your problem other than listening to you and understanding and basically saying, oh, I agree. And those are like, no, sorry about that. That was horrible. But I'm just saying masculine men are able to take it and then take away what's not necessary to think about. And also, after having listened to you, if you want suggestions, we can come with suggestions. I know most of the time you don't want suggestions. You just want to be listened to. And that's great. But sometimes, once you do listen enough to a woman, you will understand that they actually do want suggestions at times if they ask for it. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys today. I hope you got some value out of it. Eventually, you will have someone that you can vent to. Just in the meantime, know that there is a solution for everything. There is hope out there, and we're going to help you to find that. This is the Girls of High Value channel. My name is Joseph Darling. I'll see you again tomorrow.